Yo, people, welcome back to the Soccer PM podcast hosted by your boy Durag Diaries, aka Jords. As you guys can see, we have a different face today. Hooks is on holiday, so we got someone to fill in. Man like Izzy, former footballer, West Ham and Swansea. He's coming to bless us with his knowledge. What are you saying?
Thank you. Call me full-time Izzy today. No, just replacing half-time Hooks.
We'll go with that one. You may have seen Izzy's face a few times. Definitely, if you watch Fam Zone TV, where you're gonna find our other guests who are joining. Well, I should say guests, other co-hosts. In D and Dean. But how are you guys doing?
All good, man. All good.
What took over, bro?
Exactly. No That's hot weather right now. Hope everyone's enjoying their summer. You know, get your fans on and all of that business. Sorry that I am in a vest because it's like 100 degrees right now. But as people know,
to be fair, before you go on, bro, I've not seen a vest like that since 50 Cent put one on. I
I'm not even gonna say the name of what people call it, but yeah. It's that season, isn't it? It's hot.
The American thing, yeah, the wife beater season.
Hey, George, you're a hillbilly. Come on, man. Come on, hillbilly.
I wouldn't go that far, but hey, I'll take what I can get. But yeah, people, look, as we know, it's summer season, international football's going on, Club World Cup's going on. But there's something that we wanted to address because we know in this transfer window, it's currently going on. The clubs are sorting out their squads. 25-man squads, 23-man squads. But as a part of that, there's rules and regulations that you have to meet. 8 homegrown players from England are supposed to be in that squad. Do we agree whether that should be the case? Should it be more players? Should it be less? We're going to discuss that in a bit more detail. But I'm going to bring it to you first, D. What do you think of the rule at the moment of, having 8 homegrown players into that school? 23, is it 23 or 25-man squad they need to be? Is it 8 of 25, right?
25. Yeah, me personally, I feel like potentially, it's two sides to it. I feel like the first side is you've got to give players, youngsters in this country a chance. So for grassroots, because it's not just about the Premier League and the Championship and those, it's about footballers coming through. And if they know that there's an opportunity for them to play, then there's going to be constant footballers trying to make it. It's about keeping the game going. That's what it's about. So the only way you can kind of solidify that is if you have these type of quotas. And don't get it wrong. Like, even though we have those type of quotas, it is really only 99% of the time the best that get through anyway. No. It really is. You still have to be the best. So I think it's a good idea, but I still think it might even be to the point where there should maybe potentially be 3 English players on the pitch for each team. Like I might take it a little bit further because I think it was Arsenal that was the first team that had 11 players that were foreigners, wasn't it? I think it was Arsenal that had that 11 foreigners.
Under Wenger, I reckon it was
I think they had 10 black players and the goalkeeper.
Yeah, but I think it was 11 foreigners. I don't know.
Remember when Wenger did that?
I mean, you can be black in English, We mean foreigners.
Yeah, 10 black players.
No, I remember Wenger done that. 10 black players.
What do do foreigners?
Back then, they didn't. I don't know why I said that.
But no, you're not lying. I think that was the case.
This is a permanent fixture. This is a permanent fixture. Okay.
No, but to be fair, I think you make a good point. You could take it that step further. Dean, what would you think about that? Because obviously, having 3 English players in your team, or do you? Well, actually, let me ask you first. Do you mean 3 English players or 3 academy promoted English players? Just because there's a variation in it.
Oh, I hadn't thought that far. I was thinking 3 English players, but 3 academy players would make sense as well, I guess. Because obviously there's a lot of players that are classed as homegrown that obviously are not English.
Yeah.
So I think that I was like I think Fabregas was classed as homegrown.
Oh, okay. You bring them up from you bring them in.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's free if you play 3 years in and if you're under 21 and you play 3 years for that team, you count as homegrown eventually. Once you reach 21. So if you're 18 to 21, you're at that club. By the time you're 21, you're a homegrown player.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I feel like I actually meant English.
Okay.
Like I feel like there needs to be a quota for English players, but I think only the best will get through anyway. I think only the best will get through, but I think there needs to be a quota.
All right, and then Dean, obviously, bringing it to you. You're a team. You know, you support Liverpool. You're a team that's competing at the highest level. What do you think about the potential rule of that? Because you've got quite a few English players in your team. You've had some really good English academy products come through. Would you think that that's a good rule to implement, or do you think it could, you know, prevent you guys from competing at the highest level in the Champions League and so on?
I hear it. As long as it's implemented everywhere. As long as in Italy they have to have 3 Italian players, Spain they got 3, because there's too much money in football. Like I don't want my team to be hindered. Like, I'm not saying English players ain't good. I've got to play 3 English players, and it's not applicable abroad as well. This rule's got to be everywhere then if it works. You get me? Because I don't want to see Barcelona can buy anyone they want, but we have to play 3 English players just to fit the quota. Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all right for that rule as long as it's applied all around Europe. You get me? You get me? That's where I stand. Like, I think it's good for the game that you're bringing in the youngsters, because it's so easy to forget about the youngsters because all you're thinking about is money and success. There's kids that you've had since they were 6, 7 years old, and you just push them away because you get the next new shiny thing from Spain or France. So I think, yeah, it's a good idea, but as long as it's around the roster, bro, as long as it's around everywhere, I'm fine with it.
But you know what it is for me as well. Sorry to cut in. It's not just about. It's also about keeping the league like what it was. So you know, a lot of the time when you have the Premier League, we know it as kind of fast paced, all action. It's quite rough here. That's what we know it as. If you got a quarter where you know that it's got to be, you got to have, and I think this should apply to managers as well. I don't think it's just players. I think it should apply to managers as well.
English managers.
Yeah. I think it should apply to. I think
English managers in the Premier League.
Wouldn't you be a bit
no.
concerned?
Not only English managers. Not only English managers. I'm saying the national team should have an English manager. I'm saying it should apply to the managers as well around the world. So it should be the England team should be an English manager. That's what I believe as well. But also, I think it keeps the game true to what that league represents. Like Italian league, we know it's a tactical league. If you keep 3 Italian players in each team, I think it might keep it true, and you got the ethos and got the essence still. Spanish as well, you know that's a technical league. In England, we know it's quite a rough, fast-paced league. I think it keeps it true and honest, and it keeps it all the way through, kind of thing. But I don't know, man. Obviously, the legalities of it will become tricky, but that's my take on it.
When you talk about some of those other leagues, I do know they're a bit more harsher on their rules. And like you said there, with regards to like Italian managers, that's why you see like Allegri go to Juventus, in AC. They get rotated around the clubs because they tend to keep that essence of their league. Apparently, to become a manager, I've read up somewhere recently, to become a manager in Serie A, you have to do like a degree. You have to like have a thesis of some type and actually present a thesis to, you know.
Yeah, I think that's your pro license.
Yeah, but in Italy, you've got to do that, right?
Yeah, in most places now you have to do that.
Okay, now
you have to take your pro license. Yeah,
because I know how tactical they are. That there's some other things that you have to do to get in that in place. But bringing it to you, Izzy, because obviously you're someone that would have seen this at first hand. What's some of your experience with that? You know, the homegrown quota, how it impacts teams, but also what's your thoughts on what Dee said there? Do you think that there should be 3 players on the pitch from the academy that are English?
Yeah, I think that's a great shot by Dee, because it helps grow the national team as well. You know, I think in England we've got the best product, even being a small island, got the best football product in the world, the Premier League, Barclays Premier League. Everybody wants to come here. It's got the most money. So I think it would help the youth coming up if, you know, they have those quotas like 8 academy or 8 English players in the squad. That's fantastic if they have done that. and to move it forward to put 3 on the pitch that to start every game, that will even make it better. But I don't think they will do that. I don't think they can do that. Like you said, legally. But if they can do that, that would be fantastic. Like, because it will give every kid that signs. I remember signing like a schoolboy form, and when I don't know, with my ability, I always thought, okay, I'm gonna make it. But other kids that maybe in the middle don't think, okay, can they play here or do they have to move? They might have a chance then. They might think, okay, we'll be in the squad. I might get a chance to get on now because of this quota. So no, I think it's great for them. And also will help the national team. The more players that come through, the more players you can choose from. Because you only get better by playing.
I mean, it's a fair point. Me personally, I'm not too heavy on the have 3 English players in every team, because I do agree it'll probably help grow the national team, but like you said there, in the academy itself, it's not necessarily English players that are going to be the ones that are flourishing. We know in England it's nowadays as well, it's a very multicultural country, so you could have loads of players in the academy that are British but they're not English. So I feel like there may be a problem with that side of things, because it's like, but I was born here, I should get the same opportunity as the English people that were born here in the football team, because it could, I mean, you're getting a difference.
Sorry, explain, what do you mean by that? There might be...
Because you said 3 English players to be like, these thing was having 3 English players into the first team. So with that in mind, that means academies and teams will have to look at the English players to promote. So let's just say a younger player declares for, I don't know, let's just say Nigeria, Ghana, another country. They don't declare for England. They're losing themselves out of that place and that opportunity to go into that first team, because that first team's looking to fill their quota, let's just say.
Yeah, so how it works. So if you go to school here in this country, you play for England schoolboys, right? So I think it will be difficult to play for, like, say I'm Nigerian, so I played for England under 16, under 18s and upwards. So I would say, I think you can only change when you're 17, 18. I'm not sure. Once you're in the first team, I don't know if you can change while you're in the youth. I don't think it matters, because once you're British though, right? I think it's getting a little bit misconstrued. So I think once you go to school in this country, I think you're automatically seen as a British-born player.
But would we add that to, say, Scottish, Irish as well?
Yeah, because that's UK though. Yeah, it's United Kingdom.
So it would be,
even though they have their own, it would be British.
They got their own leagues though, haven't they?
They have got their own leagues and their own nationality.
That's what I mean, because I think that's where it could start to present some problems, because you're all like,
no, I think keeping the English would be fine. I don't think that's because if you look at because I think a lot of people would be worried about the standard dropping, and I think the generation before, the standard probably was a drop, but I think this generation going down, I think the standard's there. You look at all the teams: Arsenal, Rice, Saka, Lewis Skelly, Waneri, Max Dowman, they're the English players. You look at Man City in the park recently: John Stones, Phil Foden, what's his name, Carl Walkers. You look at Chelsea, they got Cole Palmer, they got Reece James, Madueke, they got, you know what I'm saying? I think Colwill. I think there's a lot of the English players that the standard is really high, but I do think it will get not confusing. I do think if we make it British, you are basically telling people that you have to have a British quota in the English league, and some people they're happy to be Irish, and some they're happy to be Welsh, they're happy to be Scottish. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they don't need to be told that we're British and you can.
No, but it also helps them though. Remember, it also helps them get in the team.
But they got their own league though, haven't they?
They got their own league, but a lot of their youth team, a lot of the young talent are scouted by English clubs from young. Yeah, I know we had some of the best Irish players. Yeah,
Easy. I know what D's doing. I've just clocked what he's doing. Just realised what he's doing.
He's always like he's trying to do the
Waneri, and he's got Skelly. He's thinking they're first team players, isn't it? He's thinking Liverpool ain't got 3 first team players. He wants to win the league. He's trying it. I know what he's trying.
He's got some good English talent. He's like,
trophy.
Let's
No,
get
look,
everyone
you
had a few players because even
No, we ain't got no one no more. I
but
know you're
before
trying to
you
do.
had at one point you had Trent, you had Gomez, you had what's his
No one
name?
else.
No, you did. You had
Okay.
Trent,
At the moment, they've got
Hey,
Harvey
John.
Elliott. You've got
Elliot Kwanzaa.
Elliott, Konza. But if you make it,
They're
if
not
you
the
do
same
make it,
level as Saka. They're not the same
they're
level
not.
as Saka.
But if you make it
They're
British,
not.
if you do make it British, yeah, and you say there has to be 3 British
Okay.
players in the team in England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, for example, then it would be fair. But the only issue you'd have is so obviously we know the history between Ireland and England. So and even so sometimes it might get a little bit technical. But my answer to that would be you got to have 3 British players in the team in Britain. That would be my answer to that to make it.
The reason for that, the reason I could be against that though is because like I grew up playing with Scottish, Irish players in the academy. You know, so it would be difficult. Imagine we all came up together from under 15s, under 14s, and then we get to the first team, and then only the English boys are in the squad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's what I mean.
That's
You're
what
not
I'm
picking
saying.
on talent no more. You're not picking on talent.
That's what I'm on. I'm just like, do you know what? I think the homegrown quota, as much as it's not perfect at the moment. Sometimes you just got to leave things how they are. I don't feel like you should start to affect how managers should choose their teams because then it goes to a bigger level. It's just like now the board is going to start having control of the first 11. The manager's not having control of what players can go out because he may not want to sell certain players. Certain players have got, we've got to keep this one to keep our quota good, or like you know.
But we do that anyway. We do that anyway.
But with the first 11, not so much. Like you can keep promoting academy players that are going to fit that quota. And yeah, sometimes your squad's not going to be great, but you'll always be able to get that number in and around. But if you're now saying that you need 3 players in the first 11, you've got managers that are coming in. They're like, I don't really like that player, but you're keeping him and playing him because we need to. That's it.
I think there needs to be English players in the Premier League. I honestly do. I think there needs to be English players in the Premier League, and I think there also needs to be like English managers and English influence in the Premier League. I think it needs to stay.
Well, if they're good enough, they'll make it through. If they're good enough, you can't keep someone that's good enough.
This is a guarantee that they will make it through, though, isn't it?
No, I think with that though, I agree with that though. I think the majority of the players in the Premiership should be English. You know, so I don't even actually. That's a good stat. I don't know if it is at the moment. I doubt it.
Can't be. No way.
Yeah, I doubt. But also the managers. I think there should be a lot more English managers given a chance because
there has to be. There has to be.
Then the national team would have an English manager, which they should do. They should definitely have an English manager.
It makes sense. It makes
I've got
sense.
a stat here from the last season.
Yeah.
For the last season, 67.4% of players are from foreign countries. So
that's too high.
32% of them are English.
And also you got to take into account. I would assume what is the percentage of those that are actually playing? Because I think a lot of those will be squad players.
Yeah.
English ones.
Players like Ranieri, all of those guys, they're not playing. So most of those players I doubt would even be even
regulars.
Be on the pitch.
I mean,
that's not enough. It's not enough English players playing. There needs to be more English players playing in the Premier League. It has to be.
No, but it's only going to be the detriment to the national team.
There's more English players than any other nation, but there's just more foreign players as a whole in the Premier League.
But there's more English players playing in the Premier League than any other nation players playing in their league.
No way. Italy is probably.
No, so what I mean in the Premier League right now, there's more English players than any other nation, but combined, there's more Brazilian.
No, for sure. That's not. Of course. Not in every nationality. Like, you know that. Yeah. But imagine Spain now, La Liga. I guarantee you, if you put out that stats, there's it's got to be at least 70% Spanish players.
Yeah, it must be. I would even say maybe even higher. I want to check it.
We got 60% Spanish players, but specifically 83.2% of players in La Liga have Spanish passports.
Yeah,
so
that's because they probably come from South America.
Yeah,
but it says in La Liga, over 80% of players are Spanish. Specifically,
Spanish passports.
83.2% of all footballers who played in the Liga during the 2022-23 season held Spanish citizenship. But 80% is a lot.
No, it's a lot. It's a lot, but they'll probably a lot of them will probably have dual citizenship.
Yeah, but don't you think it's down to money? Because I remember watching Italian football when I was young. When the money was in Italian football, everyone was
Everyone
there.
over there.
Everyone was there. Now it's in the Premiership, everyone's here. You get me? So it's where the money is, bro. Like,
Yeah, but
it's what
And even
we're
with
paying
that,
for
like,
the
Dean, you see a lot of even now English clubs take advantage of that. When you got an English player and you're trying to sell an English player, you just saw we bought Dominic Solanke for 65 million last year.
yeah, he's not
65
worth
million
that.
pounds.
Sorry, Dominic Solanke.
English tax,
No,
innit?
but
That's what
that's the
English
thing is,
players are.
a lot of English
worth
players
the
are.
money.
They're not worth the money they're going for. But
Yeah, it's the
clubs
English price tax, the tax, English tax. They call it.
But you know what? Yeah, but you have to look at this stat. Yeah, there's only right now currently there's only 2 English managers in the Premier League out of 20 teams, and there's never been that's Graham Potter and Eddie Howe, and there's never been an English manager win the Premier League ever.
Yeah, but has there ever been a manager good enough?
That doesn't make sense.
Let's have it
Honestly,
right.
How'd you make it fair? Because you don't English manager to manage Arsenal.
What do you mean?
What English manager would you have to manage Arsenal right now?
There's countless managers that were good enough to have managed Arsenal over the years.
No, right now, what English manager do you think can manage Arsenal?
Good enough. Eddie Howe's good enough to manage Arsenal. You got to look at the.
So you'd be happy to sack Arteta and put Eddie Howe in now?
No, I don't want to sack Arteta. I don't want to sack
Arteta. If he had an opportunity, he wouldn't
Eddie Howe's
mind
good.
having
Eddie Howe's a good enough manager to manage Arsenal.
I won't have Eddie Howe managing Liverpool. That's no way. No way.
But he's good enough to manage Liverpool.
I don't think he is. I don't think he is.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
What do you mean he's not good enough? You've seen what
to manage Liverpool.
Of course,
to manage Liverpool.
Look what he done for Bournemouth.
What's that got to do with
Liverpool?
What do you think? With Liverpool. What are we doing?
But he is.
You think Liverpool's like Real Madrid or something? I think you're getting just because you won the league. I think you're getting carried away.
What hold on a minute. So you're trying to tell me personally, I would have Eddie Howe at Liverpool? I wouldn't.
Wait, but you had Slot. You had Slot. Slot didn't have a better resume than Eddie Howe.
I didn't choose Slot. I
know, but you had Slot. Eddie Howe was. What do you think? Eddie Howe had more experience than Slot.
So why didn't Eddie Howe win the league then?
What do you mean? Eddie Howe.
Dean, that makes no sense, Dean. Eddie Howe didn't win the league because his team wasn't good enough to win the league. But when you talk about
my team wasn't good enough to win the league. My team wasn't good enough to win the league.
You're not doing that. You're not doing that.
What are you talking about?
Roy Hodgson wasn't good enough to manage Liverpool.
No, he was crap. You saw he was crap.
Well, he managed them.
He was crap.
I thought that.
Yeah, but Roy Hodgson was a renowned manager all over the world.
Nah, but he wasn't good enough for Liverpool though.
He went to Liverpool. You saw what happened.
I think that was a desperation hire.
You think it's okay that no English managers have not won the Premier League?
I didn't say that. I'm just saying. I'm giving you a realistic. I'm giving you a realistic thing here. Where all right, we say it's all good saying we should have English managers, but when we come to name them, and would you have to make your club? It's a whole different thing.
Dean, this is sounding like a very familiar conversation, Dean. This is sounding very familiar. I'm just gonna say just put out.
No, I'm just saying. Me personally, yeah, right. I can't like Eddie Howe. Yeah, fair enough. Where he's doing a great job at Newcastle. Yeah, remember it took him 8. It's not like he just got there and done a madness. He's been there for a little while. So I can't name one English manager unless you can name it for me that can take over Liverpool right now and go and think I'm going to challenge for Champions Leagues.
I just told you Eddie Howe.
No, I don't think so.
I do think that there's definitely, if we are being honest, there is a quality issue with regards to the English managers. I feel like Eddie Howe is probably one of the best that we've seen in a long while because if you know, like when he left Bournemouth, he went like a year or two, or I think it maybe been 2 or 3 years where he took out the game. He went to Italy, went to like Eredivisie, went to Spain, he went to all these other leagues and was with these managers taking that time out to learn their game, to pick up some more of that tactical side. Because when you look at some of these other managers, English managers aren't that good tactically. Let's have it right. Like a lot of them.
No, you're right. I think Graham Potter did that as well. But
yeah,
you also, I think you got to start.
He started his trade in the Swedish league, didn't he?
I say that you got to start from the grassroots because to get your badges in this country is so expensive. They make it so expensive for people. But you go to any other country, it's not like that. You know, it's got to change at the top. You got to make it accessible for everybody.
It's true.
And do you think that there's like a a certain put, because I think what we've seen is at the moment there is a lot of former players coming through, you know, the Wayne Rooneys, the Michael Carricks, the Frank Lampards. But I still look at them and think that there's a quality
but
issue.
they've not had the education. They've not been given time to go and educate themselves, and they've just come out of the game and gone into management. You know what I mean? It's difficult. You know, Pep. Like, imagine, look at Barcelona now. Pep went straight to the 21s. Did years, or like the B team, did years there before he got promoted. Like these guys, these foreign coaches and that, they go and do their homework. They just don't finish playing and like get into it. Some of them are lucky, yeah. You got Xabi Alonso, you know, come at the game, went to. I think he went to Spain and was he not a coach from Madrid B team?
I feel like Roman Castilla. I feel like
so I guess he did his work experience. So I think you need to do that. You need to learn. Like Rooney came out, went to become a manager straight away. And like that's difficult.
That's what happens in England. Isn't it? They rush everything. England is everything's a rush. Everything's now. Yeah, just playing football just a minute ago. Now you've got a job. That's bruv, they need to.
I think doing your badges. Don't get me wrong. Doing your badges is important. I think just because you've got your badge doesn't necessarily make you an instant manager. I think you need to do. You know what I mean? You need to get experience before you jump into especially big manager jobs like that. And because he's only like, you know, people talk about Rooney now. He was such a great player, probably one of the best players in England. Like he would be in the top talk for that. But now as a manager, you know, he gets slated. And Rooney's a national hero. People should never talk about him negatively like that.
Yeah.
But every time Simon, what's his name? Simon Jordan talks about him, he just cusses him on the radio all the time. That annoys me, like seriously. Because what Rooney did for this like country, like he's amazing. Seriously.
Well, that's how it goes, isn't it? It's not what you used to do, it's what you can do now, isn't it? That's how we roll, isn't it? It's harsh.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, is it not a case of like also because let's have it right? I feel like most of his jobs, he's not really been in the job for like a year or two. He's always been like 6 months, 8 months, 3-4 months. Do you think that there's a case of English clubs aren't giving the English managers enough time? Because I don't know if you guys seen Chris Wilder was let go by Sheffield United. He got them promoted and they let him go because he's not been good enough the other time we was promoted. And then they're probably going to go get a foreign manager.
I hear it, though.
Who's not unproven.
Learn from it. You've got something you've got to learn from
they're
the
not
mistake.
getting the right opportunities. Because
no, but he didn't get promotion. That's why they sacked him. Because Sunderland beat them in the final.
Yeah. No, they didn't get promotion, but still, it's very harsh. It's still very
harsh.
It is harsh. After they was in a bad place. So it's still like, again, like the English teams, especially at the Championship League One level, are so ruthless when these managers finally get the chance. And they're
it's
always
money, bro. It's money.
It is, though. You got to think of the, you know, the financials. Maybe Wilder's on a lot of money and they think, okay, he might be on 20 grand a week. And they think, okay, we can get somebody for 10 grand a week. You know, you're saving a lot of money. Yeah.
It's the same as what it is for like in cheap labor in jobs.
Yeah.
Where you can get the job done. You can get the job done by a foreigner that can do the job just as well, if not better, for cheaper.
Simple.
That's what
But you say that though. You see what this? I think this is the issue.
But
like,
that's the same thing about the
when
players.
When you get into all that, you can get cheaper labor from foreigners. It doesn't really work like that. Like, I think if the labor's there, you go to who the best person is. Like in my work, but some of the work that we do, I won't have any British people that want to do that work. They don't do that work, so it has to be done. The foreigners, the only one who would do that work.
Yeah, but Izzy, some of these English men ain't gonna go and do that work for the money that's getting offered.
But that's what I'm saying. So like people always saying, these foreigners are taking our job. But you don't want to do the job.
I didn't say that. My point is,
you're saying. No, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, like, you know, to say that, you know, get a foreigner to do the job because it's cheaper.
No, but I said cheap. No, I'm saying that it's the same. It's the same mentality because you can get a football manager that is just as good, if not maybe better, for cheaper.
Yeah,
but also there's a lot of foreign managers in the Championship now as well. Maybe it's because of that reason. Maybe because they will take less, and they're also good managers.
Exactly that. That's where we are. Been like it for years now, man.
It's either way though. The be all and end all is there's not enough English managers in the Premier. There's two.
Yeah, managers and players. You know.
2 out of 20 is terrible.
But again,
But
like,
I don't know how it's going to
I
change.
look at it, I'm looking at like Dean.
It's going to get worse because if Graham Potter loses his job at West Ham, they're not going to. It's going to get worse. It can only get worse. Really.
But is he doing a good job?
Who?
Yeah, maybe this season might be different.
Like that's no, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, just real quick, yeah, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, when you look at the English players, yes, there's some English players in their team that deserve to be there, but then there's a lot that just aren't that good. Same with English managers. English managers just aren't that good. So at the top level, it's hard to give them the opportunity when not many of them have proven. Graham Potter, like I said, he got the opportunity at Chelsea. He got all the money, he got money thrown at him, all the resources, couldn't perform. And it's like, this has happened before.
I disagree though, because you're saying it's not that good. Wasn't it Graham Potter that got Brighton playing how they're playing?
But then we saw Roberto De Zerbi come in and make them even better.
No, we saw Roberto De Zerbi come in and maybe improve a little bit on what Potter did, but Potter went to a bigger club because he was doing so well at a club. So he's clearly capable of managing in the Premier League, isn't he? He didn't get enough time at Chelsea, fair enough, or he didn't succeed at Chelsea in that short space of time, but he clearly is a competent Premier League manager. It's obvious because he.
To be honest, though, I think if Potter was there, I don't think he'll do any worse than the manager that's there now.
Maresca.
He did though. He had a. I'm not going to say he had a.
No, I'm saying if he had long enough, if they just said, okay, let's scrap the year that he had, go again. I think he would have improved as a manager at Chelsea.
But you know, Chelsea, like if Maresca didn't get the Champions League, he most should have got, and he didn't win that thing. He would have been
100%. He would have been gone.
He would have been gone.
So that's what Chelsea do, man. So is what. But the thing is,
if Abramovich was there, he would have been gone anyway.
You can't judge Graham Potter at Chelsea, really. I don't feel. Yeah.
So what about all right, D? What about referees then? English referees.
They've got to be the worst. These referees are the worst.
There we go.
There's a common theme here. There's a common theme,
bro. The exact same thing.
I don't know why. Like, why don't you lot think ex-players can become referees when they finish playing?
I think they can.
They got too much affiliation to put teams. Too much affiliation.
Yeah, there's too much.
Okay. Don't ref the teams you played for.
There's no one you can referee because you're refereeing your rival, refereeing this other team.
No, not really. So someone like me now as a ref, I wouldn't care.
Gerard refereeing Arsenal or Man United.
Pardon?
Gerard refereeing Man United or Arsenal or Everton.
But he would never get that job. He will never get. They wouldn't give him that game to ref.
So what games can he referee then?
Can't ref any game.
They wouldn't give him Everton. They wouldn't give him United. Like why wouldn't they give him?
Every game will have something.
Because what about if I don't know Liverpool playing in the other game? They need, let's say, Leeds. They need Leeds to beat Man United. Or let's not even say Man United. They need Leeds to beat someone else who's just completely.
Yeah, but why am I, as the manager, the referees, okay, seeing everything, we're having a meeting. I'm thinking, okay, let's give Gerard this game. Why would I put him through that? I'll just give him a game that doesn't really mean nothing. Chelsea v West Ham. Why wouldn't he get that game? It doesn't have any implication on the championship.
Right. Izzy, if you got 20 ex-players now as referees now, how's any week gonna go past without having to move this referee over there?
You've got to think too much about it. Like the players are not really in it like that. You know what I mean? I think one thing about players you'll find out they're very fair people. You're talking about?
They're fair. But they're fair until a decision is made that you don't agree with as the manager. So you might say that they're fair now as a whole, but if Gerard's refereeing Arsenal against Man United or Arsenal against, I don't know, Everton, and Arsenal get a last-minute penalty, Everton are going to think this because it's Gerard. It doesn't matter whether it was or wasn't.
Why is he managing that game? Why is he refereeing that game?
But there's no game that because everything's got there's
a few connections you can't play him against. Okay, Everton and United. Okay, so why can't you play him? Why can't you play Chelsea?
You can't play him against any of the teams that he's competed against. For
bollocks. Why not?
So Izzy,
you can't ref him against West Ham, Newcastle.
Does he not have relationships with players and managers and so on?
Hold on. Not anymore.
Izzy.
Gerard can't.
But he managed. He was a manager of Aston Villa. He was a manager of Aston Villa.
Who, Gerard?
Yeah, he was manager of Aston Villa. So he can't referee against Birmingham. He can't referee against Wolves.
You can't referee against no one.
Can't referee against any. He can't referee against Birmingham, Wolves, or Aston Villa. He can't referee for or against Liverpool, Man United.
Let me. Okay.
Or
Look,
Chelsea.
fair enough. But you're talking about Steven Gerrard. He's never going to be a referee. But you're talking. There's other players in the Championship, in League One, League Two, even in the bottom end of the Premier League, who people wouldn't really, care about. They don't have the affiliation like Gerrard does and the connection to too many teams. They might support one team, like most people do. They don't get them to ref that game. Like, if I was a referee now, it wouldn't matter what game, even though, I look out for West Ham, it wouldn't matter what game I ref.
It would.
Okay, but West Ham, don't put me in the West Ham games.
Yeah, but you can't be on Millwall games or against anyone that Millwall's got a rivalry with. You can't be on Tottenham games. You can't be on Arsenal games. You can't be on any London team game. It's a London rivalry.
Of course I could.
No, you can't, because
I could personally, but yeah, okay. There's you've named 4 or 5 teams, loads of teams in the English league.
I struggled to see it happening just simply because of like I said, there's current relationships, man. Like, you guys have relationships with certain clubs. You may know someone at a certain club. You may have at the time you're a referee, after your playing career, you may have a son. Your son might be playing against one of the he could be in the same league as one of them. Like, there's so many things going on. I feel like a player being a referee just doesn't work out.
The game would be so much better. Players being a referee, VAR, players being at VAR, you just need players involved in the game. Otherwise, the games are left to PE teachers.
I think the players should be a VAR, definitely. A part
VAR
of that.
different.
It's still refereeing.
But you're not on the pitch, man. Like, you can make decisions that
you can be in a team with a room.
You're making factual decisions.
The referees are so bad right now, making terrible decisions. Players are not going to do any worse. Players are not going to do any worse.
You know what's going to happen? Yeah, like with Gerrard example, you could have him refereeing Brighton every week then, because you can't referee no one else. Every Brighton
game. You're talking about Gerrard, who's such a big player. He has association with a lot of teams, right? But someone like an Izzy Rickman don't.
You do.
I don't. You've named 4 teams.
They'll find out. It doesn't matter what the situation is. They'll find out that you used to play for Swansea and you've got affiliation with 90 who used to play for Brighton.
I have to say that anyway before. But someone like me, but
us, if you're refereeing against Arsenal and you have a situation where you've given us a bad decision, we're looking for the issue.
Yeah, but that's up to you, lot. That doesn't bother me.
No, but it puts heat on you.
No, but it wouldn't bother me. I've made the decision.
It's not about it bothering you, bro.
But you're saying a ref. No, you're saying it would bother the referee.
Why do you think refs are not allowed to declare what team they support or have any affiliations? That's why when teams lose games or win games and stuff like that, you look at where the ref's from. He's from the Manchester region.
No, brother, I hear you. Yeah, but I swear I've seen some refs at football games.
Yeah, it's an hour away from. It's an hour away from here. You think that's the reason why? That's what happens.
Yeah,
you can't have
that's why you had to see the referees when they declare their sport. This one sports Weymouth. This one sports this team. They're all lying, bro. Right. So all these referees support teams that we've never heard of.
In League One, it's lies, man. So
no referee support any Premiership team, you know. Not one. I've never heard one referee say it's for any little Premiership team. They always put some slough.
No, man. I think players would do better if players were involved in the game like that as well. Maybe switch it up with different countries. Maybe bring all the ex-Spanish players or ex-Italian players.
That could work. That could work.
Yeah, maybe that.
I think you'd find that the foreign managers tend to be better. Foreign referees tend to be better. Like, when you watch Champions League, I feel like the consistency in the refereeing is a lot more, stable. As much as some of the decisions are bad, if they make one decision, it's usually all the decisions are going to be the same and similar to that, rather than Premier League one, it's this week, the rules changing for next week, it means something else the week after. It's all madness going on.
It's true.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you bring players from abroad, maybe that can work. Ex-pros from abroad, maybe.
But I think
definitely not Premier League or teams that play.
Not Premier League players.
I'm just looking for problems already. I'm already looking
I'm
for issues.
definitely looking for
I'm
problems.
already angry with Gerrard.
I've got an excuse already why we lost. I've got an excuse. I know what kills it.
Sound like Gary Neville being a ref, no?
Izzy, not kill it, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
We don't even like him on commentary because we think he's biased, let alone the ref.
Hey, Gerard's my favourite player there, but I would hate him because I was thinking, what? Because you didn't win a league with us. You're trying to stop us from winning the league. That's how I do it. That's what I would run with. That's me as a Liverpool fan. I'll say, what? You're just jealous because you didn't win the league.
You see all these narratives they're already coming up with, Izzy. This is why there's
narratives. Now I'm angry with him.
You know what, bro? When you think about you lot being like it's fanatics for real, bro.
Yes,
that's exactly what it is.
It's a game.
When you look at some of these stories, because of social media nowadays, some of them are gonna stick. Some people ain't even gonna know they're not real. When these things are getting spread around, it's like this person said that. Apparently, it's true. It's true. We've been hearing rumors, and it's all gonna get pushed around. And it's not gonna be good in the papers. They're now putting Gerrard's got affiliation. Gerrard didn't want Liverpool to win the league.
Yeah.
This is the type of stuff. It's all gonna be stupid. So I just don't think it makes sense. Like you're just making these narratives happen.
But that's because of all your faults as fans.
Yeah,
you lot are crazy.
Well, we're the ones that most important people. We're the fans. We're the most important people. That's what matters. We're the ones that watch it.
Yeah, we make the game. That is facts. We are crazy though. There's no doubt.
You make the game.
Bro, we're the ones that watch it.
Fans are delusional, bro.
If there's nobody to watch the game, then there's
no just playing in the park.
Just playing in the park.
Bro, you see the game now, they're trying to steal the games from fans. Like, you know what I mean? They're making it executive.
You are just playing in the park if we're not watching.
They're stealing the game from you lot. They don't need you lot anymore. They've got TV money.
No, but that's what
but how do you get the TV money unless we pay for it? We're paying for it.
That's the thing, Dean, is what they don't forget. Like all the stuff they're introducing. I don't know if you've seen Izzy, like they're trying to get halftime interviews. They're trying to get like when the subs come off, like they're trying to do more things to interact with the fans, so the fans spend more money. That's what it's always all about. It's the fans. It comes all the way. It always comes back.
That halftime interviewing rubbish. That is gonna piss me off.
Imagine that your manager's walking off, pissed off. Hey, can we get a few moments? What?
Nah.
Get him in the change room. I don't want my manager talking.
Yeah, they do all that in the NBA and the NFL. They interview, even during the games, they're interviewing managers, interviewing like players and things like that.
During the game, they're interviewing the manager, bro. While the game being played, I see them talking to the man. It's mad.
Yeah, these people with money are coming over and they are ruining football. I feel
they do that in a lot of sports, or like Formula One and stuff, though, where they talk to teams during.
Yeah, but F1 is different, though, man. Cars are just going around. Like, football's so important.
Should be talking to them.
You can say that about anything. They're just kicking off.
No, but football though, you can't be interviewing the manager during when the game's going on. If he's missing something big,
F1, they got things to do with, got 100 monitors to do with, and I'm talking to you. That's mad.
They're not. Listen, they're not interviewing Christian Horner during the race. It's not possible. They can't do that.
No, but
they can't.
They shouldn't be interviewing no one during anything.
No, man. Leave that to the Americans. Leave that to the Americans, most definitely. But
the halftime show for Champions League, that one's crazy for me. I don't want to see that. They want to bring that on as well. Halftime show for Champions League. They're trying to bring that on.
Madness. I don't know what they're trying to do over there, trying to Americanize the sport completely. But I think what we're gonna call this show Mega, Make England Great Again, because quite clearly people want English managers to start bringing up Mega, Make England Great Again.
I don't know if I can be on that show, you know.
That's crazy. No. What we BMP for real?
I think that's what we're gonna have to call the episode, man. Because for real, it was all about England.
I feel like Cass Pennant.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Give me the one black guy there.
Nah, but look, people, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you look out for the Soccer PM episodes. They are gonna be released on Fam Zone TV. Durag Diaries halftime hooks every Thursday 6 p.m. Make sure you're there. Big up to Izzy for filling in for, well, I should say full-time Izzy, because that's what we're referring to now. But big up to Izzy for filling in for Hooks. You may see him again because Hooks going to be away for a few weeks. So definitely get used to his face. But big up for the support. Make sure you smash a like. Make sure you share this with your people. And yeah, it's been another episode of Soccer PM. We're out.